You think luxury is about leather seats and giant screens. You think success is about attention, applause, and people saying your name. You think winning looks flashy, loud, easy, comfortable. But that belief is exactly why you are stuck watching other people live the life you secretly want. Because real luxury is not built in front of cameras. It is built in silence, in pressure, in repetition, in standards so high they would crush most people. And if you're honest with yourself, you've already quit things that were far easier than this. Look at your habits. Look at your routines. Look at how easily you give up when things stop feeling exciting. One bad day and you slow down. One mistake and you doubt yourself. One delay and you start making excuses. That is not weakness. That is conditioning. You've trained yourself to quit quietly. You've trained yourself to accept average without even questioning it. And now you wonder why your life hasn't moved forward. You scroll through success. You consume ambition. You admire greatness from a distance. You tell yourself, one day I'll do that. But deep down, you know the truth. You're not afraid of failing. You're afraid of committing. Because commitment means no escape routes, no backup plans, no comfortable lies. It means showing up when nobody is watching, when nobody is clapping, when nobody cares. That where most people disappear. You want results without routine. You want confidence without consistency. You want respect without sacrifice. It does to work that way. It never has, it never will. Every high-level creation starts with brutal self-discipline, not motivation, not inspiration. Discipline, the kind that does care how you feel, the kind that shows up when you are tired, bored, frustrated, and doubting yourself. Here, the harsh truth you don't hear enough. Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they're impatient. They quit too early. They change direction too fast. They chase comfort instead of mastery. They trade long-term greatness for short-term relief. And then they spend years pretending it was bad luck. Another truth. You've wasted more time waiting for the right moment than most people waste failing. You keep preparing, planning, overthinking, adjusting. Meanwhile, disciplined people are already 5 steps ahead of you, not because they were smarter, because they started when they were scared. You've been taught to believe that success should feel good, that progress should be fun, that passion should carry you. That is a lie. Real growth feels uncomfortable. It feels repetitive. It feels lonely. It feels boring. It feels unfair. And if you're not feeling any of that, you're probably not growing. Think about how easily you break promises to yourself. You say you all wake up early. You don't. You say you all focus. You don't. You say you all start tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. Every broken promise weakens your self-respect. Every excuse teaches your mind that quitting is acceptable. Over time, you stop trusting yourself. And when you don't trust yourself, you can build anything powerful. You don't lack information. You don't lack opportunity. You lack standards. You've accepted a version of yourself that plays small, avoids discomfort, and hides behind someday. And as long as you protect that version, nothing changes. The world does reward potential. It rewards execution. It does care what you planned. It cares what you finished. It does care what you wanted. It cares what you built. Right now, you are standing at a line. On one side is comfort, familiar routine, easy distractions, safe excuses. On the other side is discipline, structure, pressure, responsibility, growth. You cross that line every day with your choices. Most days you already know where you've been going. This isn't about cars. This is about standards, about what happens when nothing is allowed to be good enough, about what happens when excellence is the minimum, and whether you are brave enough to apply that same mentality to your own life. Because if you don't, nothing changes. And deep down, you know that. You admire expensive things. You admire polished results. You admire finished products. You admire success when it looks clean and effortless. But you don't respect the process that creates it. You don't respect the boring days, the repetitive days, the exhausting days, the days where nothing seems to move forward. You skip those parts. You scroll past them. You pretend they don't exist. And then you are confused when your own life stays stuck in the same place. You wake up every day with access to more tools, more knowledge, and more opportunities than any generation before you. And yet, most of that power is wasted on distraction, notifications, endless videos, meaningless debates, random entertainment. Hours disappear. Days disappear. Years disappear. And you barely notice until it is too late. Be honest. How much time did you lose this week doing things that didn't matter? How many moments did you trade for comfort? How many chances did you ignore because effort felt inconvenient? You don't need more time. You need more respect for your time. Right now, you treat it like it's unlimited. It's not. You love the idea of success. You hate the reality of consistency. You love imagining yourself winning. You hate repeating the same boring actions every day. You want change without discomfort, growth without struggle, progress without pressure. That mindset keeps people average for life. Here, as the reality most people avoid, discipline is not exciting. It doesn't give instant rewards. It doesn't feel good in the beginning. It feels restrictive. It feels unfair. It feels lonely. It feels like you are working while everyone else is relaxing. That is why most people quit. Not because they can handle work, because they can handle delayed gratification. You start strong, then you slow down, then you disappear. You've done it before, with goals, with routines, with plans, with promises. The pattern repeats. Motivation fades, comfort takes over, regret follows, and instead of fixing the pattern, you blame circumstances. Another harsh truth. You've trained your mind to escape discomfort. Every time something gets hard, you distract yourself. You open your phone. You change the topic. You postpone the task. Over time, effort starts to feel painful. Focus feels impossible. Discipline feels foreign. You did lose your ability. You abandoned it. Look around. People who are winning aren't more special than you. They are more consistent than you. They don't negotiate with their excuses. They don't debate with their laziness. They decide. Then they execute every day, even when it is boring. Especially when it's boring, you say you want better results, but you protect your bad habits, you defend your comfort, you justify your delays, you explain away your failures. You've become very good at lying to yourself in polite ways. I am tired. I'll start tomorrow. Now isn't it the right time? I am busy. Busy doing what? Escaping responsibility. The uncomfortable question is this. If someone followed your daily routine exactly, would they become successful? Or would they become average like you? Your habits are your future in disguise. Nothing more, nothing less. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems. And right now, your systems are weak, unstructured, reactive, controlled by mood and convenience. That is why your progress is unstable. Good weeks followed by bad months. Strong starts followed by silent endings. You weren't born undisciplined. You were trained to be distracted. You were trained to chase comfort. You were trained to avoid pressure. But training can be reversed. Patterns can be rebuilt. Identity can be rewritten. If you're willing to be uncomfortable long enough, stop waiting for confidence. Confidence comes after action. Stop waiting for clarity. Clarity comes after movement. Stop waiting for motivation. Motivation comes after results. You've been waiting in the wrong order. Nothing changes until your standards change. Until I tried becomes I finished. Until I'll try becomes I will. Until someday becomes now. You already know this. You've always known this. The question is whether you are finally ready to live it. Everything that lasts begins with refusal. Refusal to accept average. Refusal to settle. Refusal to say this is good enough, when deep down you know it isn't. True excellence starts the moment you stop lying to yourself about your standards. It starts when you look at your work, your habits, your mindset, your effort, and admit that most of it still needs improvement. That honesty is rare. That honesty is painful. That honesty is powerful. You've been taught to chase quick results. Fast wins, shortcuts, hacks, tricks, ways to look successful without becoming excellent. And it is ruining you, because anything built fast without foundations eventually collapses. You see it everywhere. People who rise quickly and disappear just as fast. Projects that explode and then vanish. Confidence that looks strong until pressure arrives. Real mastery doesn't rush. It repeats. It tests. It rebuilds. It questions. Over and over again. Every small detail is examined. Every weakness is exposed. Every flaw is corrected. Not once, not twice, hundreds of times, until improvement becomes automatic. Most people don't fail because they are careless. They fail because they tolerate small mistakes. They ignore tiny weaknesses. They allow almost right to become normal. And those small compromises stack up. One lazy decision becomes a habit. One excuse becomes a lifestyle. One shortcut becomes a permanent limitation. Look at your own life. How many times have you said, "It is fine," when it wants tea? How many times have you lowered your expectations to avoid discomfort? How many times have you chosen easy over excellent? Those choices did seem important at the time, but they built the version of you that exists today. Here's the truth. Standards shape destiny. If your standard is comfort, you get mediocrity. If your standard is effort, you get progress. If your standard is excellence, you get mastery. Not instantly, not easily, but eventually. Always, perfection is about being flawless. It is about refusing to ignore flaws. It is about obsession with improvement. It is about asking, how can this be better? Even when everyone else is satisfied. It is about being harder on yourself than the world ever will be. You've been waiting for approval, waiting for praise, waiting for someone to tell you that you are doing enough. That is another trap. External validation weakens internal standards. When you depend on applause, you lower your effort when nobody's watching. When you depend on recognition, you quit when recognition disappears. High performers don't need permission to push harder. They don't need validation to stay disciplined. Their standard is internal, non-negotiable, unshakable. Think about how often you redo things, how often you refine, how often you challenge your own work. If the answer is rarely, you already know why your progress is slow. Growth hides in repetition. Improvement hides in revision. Mastery hides in the willingness to start over without complaining. Another uncomfortable truth. You protect your ego more than your potential. You avoid feedback. You avoid criticism. You avoid situations where you might look inexperienced. So you stay safe and small. Ego loves comfort. Growth demands humility. Every time you say, "That is just how I am," you lock yourself into limitation. Every time you say, "I am not good at that," you build mental walls. Excellence begins when you replace those sentences with, "I'll learn," and "I'll improve," and "I am not there yet." Not yet is power. Not yet means growth is still possible. Not yet means you are still in the game. Perfection is built in layers. First discipline, then consistency, then precision, then mastery. You can skip steps. You can cheat the process. You can rush evolution. Every shortcut steals from your future. Right now, your biggest competition isn't other people. It's your own tolerance for mediocrity, your own willingness to settle, your own habit of lowering the bar when things get hard. Raise it. Raise your expectation. Raise your effort. Raise your discipline. Raise your standards. Not for praise, not for attention, for yourself. Because the moment you stop accepting good enough is the moment everything begins to change. Comfort is the most dangerous drug in your life. It feels harmless. It feels normal. It feels deserved. It whispers that you've done enough, that you can rest now, that tomorrow will be better. And slowly, quietly, it destroys your potential. Not in dramatic ways, in small, invisible ways. One skipped effort at a time, one delayed decision at a time, one easy choice at a time. You've built your life around convenience, fast answers, quick entertainment, instant delivery, one-click solutions. Everything is designed to make you comfortable, and it is working too well. Your tolerance for discomfort is shrinking, your patience is disappearing, your focus is weakening. You feel tired not because you work too hard, but because you avoid meaningful work. Real growth does happen in comfort. It happens in pressure, in precision, in responsibility, in moments where you want to quit but choose not to, in situations where excuses would be easy but discipline is chosen instead. That is where strength is built. Not in motivational moments, in uncomfortable routines. You say you busy, but busy is often a mask for unorganized, scattered, reactive, pulled in 100 directions by notifications, opinions, and random tasks. You don't control your time. Your environment controls you, and as long as that continues, you'll always feel behind. Every high-performing system runs on precision. Nothing is random. Nothing is accidental. Every movement has purpose. Every step has structure. Every process is measured and refined. Compare that to your day. Wake up late, rush, scroll, react, delay, repeat. That is not a schedule, that is chaos. Chaos feels exciting at first. It feels flexible, it feels free, but over time it drains you, because chaos requires constant decision-making, constant adjustment, constant emotional energy. Structure saves energy, discipline creates freedom, routines remove friction, but you've been avoiding them because they feel restrictive. Here is the irony. The more you avoid structure, the more trapped you become. Trapped in inconsistency, trapped in stress, trapped in unfinished goals, trapped in regret. Meanwhile, disciplined people look rigid from the outside, but live with more peace, more control, and more progress. Precision is about respect. Respect for time. Respect for effort. Respect for results. When you rush, you show disrespect. When you procrastinate, you show disrespect. When you do things halfway, you show disrespect, mostly to yourself. Think about how often you say, "I'll fix it later." Later rarely comes. Problems grow, mistakes multiply, weaknesses deepen, and suddenly small issues become massive obstacles, all because they weren't handled properly when they were small. You don't need more energy, you need fewer leaks. Leaks in focus, leaks in discipline, leaks in priorities. You waste strength worrying about things you can control while ignoring habits you can. Pressure isn't the enemy. Pressure reveals. It shows you who you really are when comfort is removed, when excuses disappear, when expectations are high. Under pressure, some people rise, others collapse. The difference isn't talent, it has preparation. You avoid pressure because it exposes weakness. But weakness exposed is weakness that can be fixed. Weakness hidden becomes permanent. Every time you avoid challenge, you protect your ego and damage your future. Look at how easily you quit when things get uncomfortable, when progress slows, when mistakes happen, when results don't arrive fast. That quitting reflex is learned, and it can be unlearned, but only if you decide that comfort is no longer your priority. There is no precision in laziness. There is no mastery in shortcuts. There is no excellence in convenience. Everything meaningful demands effort that feels unreasonable to average minds. You don't become strong by staying safe. You become strong by staying focused. You become reliable by staying disciplined. You become dangerous by staying consistent. Discomfort is not punishment. It is training, and the sooner you accept that, the faster your life changes. People love the story of talent. They love believing that winners were born different, smarter, faster, more gifted, more lucky. It makes failure feel acceptable. It makes quitting feel justified. Because if success is about talent, then effort doesn't really matter. And if effort does matter, there's no reason to push yourself when things get hard. That belief is comfortable, and it's destroying you. Talent is unreliable. It fades under pressure. It disappears without practice. It collapses without discipline. History is full of gifted people who never became great because they refused to do the boring work. Meanwhile, ordinary people with ordinary abilities quietly built extraordinary lives through consistency. You've seen it. Maybe you've lived it. Someone less smart than you surpasses you. Someone with fewer advantages wins. Someone who started behind ends up ahead, and instead of learning from it, you tell yourself stories. They were lucky. They had connections. They had support. Anything except the truth. The truth is simple. They worked when you hesitated. They trained when you relaxed. They showed up when you disappeared. Systems beat talent. Every time. A system does depend on mood. It does depend on inspiration. It does depend on confidence. It runs whether you feel ready or not. Your life, on the other hand, is still driven by emotion. When you feel motivated, you act. When you don't, you wait. When you feel confident, you try. When you doubt, you retreat. That emotional dependence keeps you unstable. One bad week can erase months of progress. That is not bad luck. That is poor structure. Look at how you plan your days. Vague goals, loose routines, random priorities. No clear metrics, no clear standards. You try your best and hope for results. Hope is not a strategy. Hope is what people use when they refuse to build systems. A system tells you exactly what to do when motivation is gone. A system tells you exactly what matters and what does. A system protects you from yourself. Here, another uncomfortable truth. You like starting things more than finishing them. Starting feels exciting. New plans, new goals, new energy. Finishing feels heavy, slow, repetitive, demanding, so you jump from idea to idea, project to project, dream to dream, busy, but going nowhere. That's not creativity. That's avoidance. Avoidance of commitment. Avoidance of responsibility. Avoidance of mastery. Masters are boring. They repeat the same fundamentals thousands of times. They refine tiny details that nobody notices. They respect small improvements. They trust the process when results are invisible. You want big change, but you ignore small discipline. You want massive success, but you avoid daily structure. That contradiction is why you are frustrated. Every strong system is built on three things: clear rules, non-negotiable routines, and honest measurement. Rules decide what is allowed. Routines decide what happens daily. Measurement decides what gets improved. Remove any one of these, and performance collapses. Right now, your rules are flexible. Your routines are optional. Your measurement is emotional. I feel like I did okay. I think I worked enough. It seems fine. Feelings done to build excellence. Data does. Structure does. Repetition does. Another harsh truth. You've been relying on willpower. And willpower is weak. It fades. It gets tired. It loses to stress and distraction. Systems done, they remove the need for constant self-control. When something is automatic, it does require debate. When something is scheduled, it does require motivation. When something is measured, it does require guessing. You've been trying to be strong instead of being smart. Strong people burn out. Smart people build systems. Talent gets attention. Systems get results. And until you stop trusting your moods more than your structure, you will keep repeating the same cycle with different excuses. Every serious standard is built on intolerance, not hatred, not arrogance. Intolerance for carelessness, intolerance for excuses, intolerance for almost. Intolerance for repeated mistakes that were never corrected. When something truly matters, there is no space for close enough. There is no room for we'll fix it later. There is only right or wrong, strong or weak, effective or useless. Most people live in the gray zone, half effort, half focus, half commitment, half responsibility. They float between trying and quitting, between dreaming and doubting, between wanting more and doing less. The gray zone feels safe. No big risks, no big failures, no big wins. Just slow, quiet stagnation. Zero tolerance thinking destroys the gray zone. It forces clarity. It forces honesty. It forces growth. When standards are high, mistakes are exposed immediately. Weaknesses can hide. Poor habits can survive. Everything is visible. Everything is accountable. That level of transparency is uncomfortable. That is why most people avoid it. They prefer confusion over confrontation. They prefer excuses over improvement. Look at how easily you let things slide. You miss a day. You ignore it. You break a promise. You justify it. You lower your effort. You rationalize it. Each time you do, you send a message to yourself. This is acceptable. Over time, your standards collapse without you noticing. You dawn to wake up one day and become undisciplined. You become undisciplined through tolerance. Tolerance for laziness. Tolerance for distraction. Tolerance for inconsistency. Tolerance for mediocrity. Strong systems don't tolerate drift. They correct immediately. Small deviations are fixed before they become habits. Minor mistakes are treated seriously before they become patterns. That's how excellence protects itself. But look at your life. Problems pile up. Weaknesses deepen. Bad habits grow roots. And instead of addressing them, you adapt to them. You lower expectations. You reduce goals. You shrink ambition, all to avoid discomfort. That is self-sabotage disguised as realism. Another harsh truth. You avoid strict standards because they expose your true effort. When rules are clear, there is nowhere to hide. You either did the work or you did. You either showed up or you did tea. You either improved or you did tea. No stories, no excuses, just facts. And facts are scary. It is easier to live in vagueness. I am trying. I am working on it. I am getting there. Those phrases mean nothing without evidence. They're emotional shields. They protect your ego from accountability. Zero tolerance doesn't mean perfection. It means seriousness. It means refusing to repeat preventable mistakes. It means learning fast, adjusting fast, improving fast. It means treating your goals with respect. Think about the promises you've made to yourself. Exercise, study, build, save, improve, focus. How many were broken without consequence? How many were postponed without penalty? How many were forgotten completely? You trained yourself that your word doesn't matter. That is dangerous. Self-trust is built through follow-through. Self-respect is built through consistency. Self-belief is built through discipline. Without those, confidence is fake. Motivation is temporary. Ambition is noise. You don't need harsher critics. You need higher personal standards. You don't need more encouragement. You need more accountability. Stop negotiating with weakness. Stop compromising with laziness. Stop cooperating with distraction. Every time you excuse a bad habit, it grows stronger. Every time you confront it, it weakens. Pressure does. Tea ruin people. Softness does. High standards feel heavy at first. They demand effort. They demand focus. They demand sacrifice. But over time, they create freedom. Freedom from chaos. Freedom from regret. Freedom from constant self-disappointment. Low standards feel light at first. Easy, comfortable, flexible. But over time, they create prisons. Prisons of underachievement, frustration, unfulfilled potential. You choose which one you live in. No tolerance for wasted days. No tolerance for broken promises. No tolerance for repeated excuses. Not because you're cruel, because you're serious. And serious people build extraordinary lives. Most people say they want greatness. Very few people are willing to live the lifestyle that greatness requires. They love the idea of being admired, respected, remembered. But they hate the habits that make those things possible. Early mornings, late nights, repetition, isolation, sacrifice, delayed pleasure, quiet discipline. Those are not attractive. They don't look good on social media. They don't get applause. And that is exactly why most people avoid them. Excellence is lonely. It separates you. It isolates you. It makes you different. While others relax, you practice. While others celebrate, you prepare. While others sleep, you build. That difference creates distance. And many people can handle that distance. They want success without separation. They want progress without standing apart. They want growth without being misunderstood. It does work that way. Look at how much you care about fitting in, about being liked, about being accepted. You adjust your goals to match your environment. You shrink your ambition to avoid criticism. You soften your effort to avoid standing out. You trade your future for social comfort. That trade is expensive. Here's the truth. Most people around you are not building anything serious. They are surviving, distracting themselves, passing time, repeating routines that lead nowhere. If you match their pace, you inherit their results. If you copy their habits, you copy their limits. And yet, you listen to them. You take advice from people who haven't done what you want to do. You absorb opinions from people who quit early. You follow standards set by average minds. That is dangerous. Excellence demands independence, independent thinking, independent standards, independent discipline. You must be willing to disappoint people, to be misunderstood, to be criticized, to be alone sometimes, because growth changes you, and change makes others uncomfortable. Another harsh truth: comfort is social, so is laziness, so is distraction, so is mediocrity. When everyone around you wastes time, it feels normal. When everyone avoids effort, it feels justified. When everyone complains, it feels reasonable. Group behavior weakens individual ambition. That is why high performers are selective with environments, with influences, with conversations, with routines. They protect their focus. They guard their energy. They limit access to their time. Not out of arrogance, out of necessity. You've been too available, too reactive, too influenced. Every message gets answered. Every invitation gets considered. Every distraction gets attention, and your goals get leftovers. Greatness requires saying no. No to comfort. No to noise. No to pointless conversations. No to endless entertainment. No to emotional chaos. No to wasting nights and mornings and weekends. Every no protects a yes. Yes to discipline. Yes to mastery. Yes to progress. Yes to future freedom. But saying no makes you look strange, cold, rigid, different. And you afraid of that. You, rather blend in than break out. That fear is keeping you small. Look at your schedule. Who controls it? You or other people? Your priorities or random demands? Your goals or your phone? Excellence requires ownership of time. If you don't control your hours, you don't control your life. Another uncomfortable truth. You've confused being busy with being productive. Social, connected, active, involved, but not advancing. Motion without direction is still stagnation. Loneliness in pursuit is temporary. Regret from quitting is permanent. Isolation while building is temporary. Mediocrity from conforming is permanent. You get to choose which pen you accept. Excellence hurts up front. Average hurts forever. And here, as the final reality, not everyone will understand your journey. Not everyone will support your discipline. Not everyone will respect your standards. Some will mock you. Some will doubt you. Some will distance themselves. Let them. They are not living your life. They are not paying your price. They are not carrying your potential. You are, and greatness begins the moment you stop asking for permission to be different. Most people spend their lives chasing motivation. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel inspired. They wait for the perfect mood, the perfect moment, the perfect situation. And while they wait, life passes. Opportunities close. Time disappears. Potential fades. Motivation is treated like a requirement, like a permission slip. No motivation, no action. That belief is one of the biggest lies you've been taught. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. It rises and crashes. It disappears when pressure appears. If your progress depends on motivation, your progress will always be unstable. Look at your own patterns. When energy is high, you work. When energy drops, you pause. When excitement fades, you quit. When boredom arrives, you escape. Your effort follows your emotions. That makes you predictable, weak, easy to defeat by stress, distraction, and doubt. Strong people don't wait to feel ready. They move while feeling unready. They act while feeling uncertain. They build while feeling tired. They don't ask, do I feel like it? They ask, what must be done? That question changes everything. Motivation feels powerful, but discipline is unstoppable. Discipline does need excitement. It does need confidence. It does need approval. It only needs commitment. And once commitment is made, action follows automatically. You've been negotiating with yourself every day, debating whether to start, whether to continue, whether to try harder, whether to quit. Those internal arguments drain your energy. They weaken your focus. They waste your time. Rules remove debate. When something is scheduled, it happens. When something is required, it gets done. When something is non-negotiable, excuses disappear. That is why structure creates freedom. It frees you from emotional decision-making. It frees you from constant self-conflict. It frees you from the mental chaos of should I or shouldn't I. Another harsh truth. You've overestimated how special your circumstances are. You think your tiredness is unique. Your problems are exceptional. Your situation is unfair. Your obstacles are rare. They are not. Everyone has them. High performers just refuse to let them decide the outcome. They plan for bad days. They prepare for low energy. They design systems for weak moments. You react to bad days. You surrender to low energy. You collapse in weak moments. That difference explains everything. Mindset is not positive thinking. It is decision architecture. It is how you structure your environment, your habits, and your routines to support progress even when your mind is against you. Look at your environment. Does it encourage focus or distraction, discipline or laziness, growth or comfort? You've built spaces that make quitting easy and working hard difficult. And then you blame yourself for failing. Change the structure, and behavior follows. Another uncomfortable truth. You romanticize freedom. No schedule. No rules, no pressure, no restrictions. It sounds attractive, it feels powerful. But in reality, unstructured freedom leads to wasted potential. Without boundaries, time leaks. Without systems, effort scatters. Without routines, goals drift. Freedom without discipline becomes chaos. Discipline without freedom becomes prison. The balance is systems that serve your purpose. You don't need more willpower. You need better design. Design your mornings. Design your work blocks. Design your breaks. Design your priorities. Decide in advance what matters. Remove decisions from moments of weakness. Build default behaviors that lead toward growth. Every strong identity is built on small, repeated actions. You don't become disciplined by thinking about it. You become disciplined by acting disciplined when it's uncomfortable, over and over, until it becomes normal. At first, it feels forced. Then it feels familiar. Then it feels natural. That is how transformation works. You've been waiting for a feeling to serve you. It won't. You've been hoping clarity will arrive first. It won't. Action comes first. Structure comes first. Discipline comes first. Everything else follows, and the moment you stop waiting and start designing your life on purpose, you stop being a victim of circumstance and become the architect of your future.